What have been the challenges that you might have faced when it comes to this understanding?
Not every initiative that a marketing team takes will result in sales. Founders are so lost in their own brand a lot of times, right? They're so passionate about it. That's the only thing revolving around their head.
You yourself have to believe that this is the best thing since cooked rice if you have to sell.
If you blink and there's a new app or there's a new feature or there's something new that is changed in this landscape, people keep saying, okay, now SEO is dead or cold emails are dead or whatever. Like something's always,
A lot of people don't understand or do not appreciate the fact that marketing is not about what you posted yesterday or what you're going to post tomorrow. It is marketing has nothing to do with that. That is sales' problem.
Correct.
Marketing is about the long-term vision. It is about understanding what your brand stands for, and more importantly, what will your brand never do, because nobody kind of addresses that question. And in corporate space, it becomes really easy to kind of align with what will your brand never do, because you have structures in place, you have guidelines to follow. Somebody's job is on the line if they don't follow these guidelines. But obviously in the founder space, it's a gray line, right? So what have been some of the challenges that you might have faced when it comes to this understanding, outside of the fact that they want an instant gratification? Has there been, you're a consumer research person, you work on insights, has there been a trend or something that founders will always function like this and they will not get it?
I mean, I can give you an example of a recent one that I did about a few months ago. I was working on a project with these guys, and the founder, he was very interested in all these TikToks, and apparently that was what he believed was the way to get sales. And I was telling him that, I really don't think that that's the way. That is the way for us to build brand culture. That is the way to participate in culture, right? That is okay. If this is a trending topic, you want to tweet on it, you want to reply on this, that absolutely we must do as a brand, right? But at the same time, let's not confuse that with giving us sales.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's not necessarily going to happen. And as a brand or as a business, we should also be okay with that. Not every initiative that a marketing team takes will result in sales, right? It will result in, hopefully, if it's done right, it will result in some amount of memory accumulation, right? It will make sure that the consumers maybe think of you, remember you for a little while longer. So I think that is something that I have found to be very challenging, because they think like, okay, we've done this on TikTok and we partnered with this one little influencer, and this campaign drove this much conversion.
Yeah.
So and then now where is the sales? I was like, well, they don't have to necessarily bring in the sales. Yes, of course, today marketing is getting a lot more scientific. You can actually attribute it directly back to all of these things, sales. But a lot of times the initiatives that we do are just to seed the brand. I think because founders are so lost in their own brand a lot of times, right? They're so passionate about it. That's the only thing revolving around their head, right? Or their, the type teams that they lead. But for the consumer, that brand is largely insignificant. As harsh as that is to hear and, say, the brand is largely insignificant. You are, I mean, they don't even remember KFC for most of the time, right? And I used to work on, like, imagine such a big brand. It's not top of mind for you. So why would a, startup, small little brand in one small region be that important? It won't. So that's what I have to that's my challenge with them a lot of times. Like, your world is 100% with this brand. Customers, it's like 0.001%. So,
if that.
Yeah. So how do we get closer to converting it into more memory space is the challenge, right? And I don't think founders, a lot of times, they don't think of that. They think that this is it. It's such a fantastic thing. This is the best thing. Yeah, it is. But enough people don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, from experience and whatever, you understand that you yourself have to believe that this is the best thing since cooked rice if you have to sell yourself to anywhere. But what does get lost in the process is to understand that not everybody else's world revolves around you. So I think that challenge of meeting or making a marriage of the expectations versus the reality is what you end up doing a lot. And tell me, what was something you learned about yourself in the process?
Well, I think I'm still discovering a lot, to be honest, because it's not been a very long transition for me. But I think, I think I'm learning to, just be okay with failure. And it's not an easy thing to admit, or not an easy thing to kind of live with when that happens with you, because I've lost a few clients. Maybe some of my campaigns that I kind of were designing or working with didn't go as planned, and then have an awkward conversation with the founders. So when you have the comfort of a corporate cushion, a lot of this is not addressed.
Not your problem. Yeah.
It's not my problem.
Yeah.
Okay, the agency must have whatever, or we try and find like that one metric that was actually good. Okay, conversions weren't there, but look at engagement. Okay, or the engagement wasn't there, but look at view through. And view through is not even an important element, but let's. So you find ways to cushion yourself when you have a certain stability. But when you don't, and when you're on your kind of trying your hand at by yourself, I think every one of those feels a lot deeper to you. Every one of those you are also as an individual more conflicted by. So I have to find ways to just be okay with that a lot of times. It's like, okay, hey, I'm also learning. It's just a, short period that I've gotten into it. And the fact that I'm in it and I'm still, kind of, up there and surviving is also a great way to, kind of just reorient myself. So, but that takes a lot of time. It every day it requires you to keep motivating, keep pushing, and not looking at those points. I think outside of that, for me, it's also been that, when you're in the thick of things, and when you're kind of constantly doing the routine and the work, you actually don't realize how much you've accumulated in terms of knowledge. At least we don't appreciate it. I know. I when I was in my last corporate, I don't think I sat back saying, oh my God, I've learned so much, and I've come to this position. I actually never did. Maybe there are people who do, but I didn't. But now when I'm out of it, I look back and I'm like, my God, like those 18 years I've spent, and I have done this and I've done this. And when some founder has a point to me, and, I can dip into my memory and say, yes, we tried this. And so it's given me a new appreciation of my experience and what I can bring to the table. So I don't think I ever thought of it like that, because you're always working with the same brand, right? Like I've been with an F&B brand for so long that you're doing the same thing. I mean, at the same time, I'm selling the same product, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same consumer insights twisted here and there. Versus when you're working now with multiple guys who have different points of view, different kinds of demands, different markets, and you're dipping into like past experiences to help them, it kind of gives you a sense of achievement, right? And I think that's a very small, little nice, warm feeling that you get, which I think is, I hadn't ever experienced before. So it's a first for me as well.
I completely agree. I think, like you said, it's almost like knowledge is now muscle memory, right? You don't have to think about it. If a question comes to you, without even thinking, what the answer is. And so many times we don't really give value to what we have learned over the years. Like, for instance, I was showing you my situation. It's because in college I did mass comm, so I knew how to play.
How to do this.
So what comes where you don't know. And in the corporate space, like you were mentioning, because there is a bigger team, there are also people who are doing different roles. So there is an accounts guy, there is a finance guy, there is an HR person. And within your team also, there is a graphics guy, there's a digital, whatever. Now, of course, you're doing all of these roles yourself. Which of them has been the most challenging?
I think the most challenging is, by far, is the digital space. Okay. Trying to be in digital marketing today. I mean, for somebody at my years of experience, and I would call myself fairly aged in that sense, trying to stay up with it. I mean, there's just too much happening. It's too fast. There are just too many apps, tools. I mean, you just look at the amazing stuff that's happening, all with AI. Like, how quickly can I convert creative? How quickly can I have it reviewed, developed, executed? And then measured in different ways. It's just changing too much. It's changing too fast. So I think, like, even though I have done it, I've had teams who have done it, and agencies who are doing it for me. Even now, if I'm kind of being a part of it myself physically, it's just something that is becoming, like you really have to always
Be on.
you just like you blink and there's a new app or there's a new feature or there's something new that has changed in this landscape, right?
Yeah.
I mean, people keep saying, okay, now SEO is dead or cold emails are dead or whatever. Like something's always, dying
Always
and
there.
something is emerging.
Yeah.
So I think for me, that is probably the one that I find the most, sort of exciting because there's just so much happening. But also at the same time, it's very intimidating because you're like, okay, I have to keep learning.
Yeah.
Because otherwise content creation, content development, brand management, sort of strategic brand thinking, those are all fairly established and they're slightly slower, I would say, to change versus this space is just too dynamic.
Yeah.